All right, we are live. The Seriously Loco Watchalong for El Paso Locomotive's visit to Las Vegas Lights. I'm Phil Bakke, and I'm joined by Mika Burrell. Mika, we got a night of Locos football coming right up. How are you feeling?
Tired, man. It's what is this? The fifth match in like 12 days or something ridiculous like that. I
Yeah,
don't know, but no, I'm interested to see how we'll do on the road. Maybe a little trip out of town will be good for the boys. It's not been a stellar start to the season. And we've had joy historically against Vegas, although I think this is a different uh, prospect this time around, this Las Vegas Lights, but they are missing key players as well as we are. So it is the international break after all in world football. So
it is. Yeah, I think both sides missing some key contributors. Although I hope that we're able to absorb the losses a little bit better than Vegas with
mm-hmm.
how key Edson Escona was for them last time out, and he is with the Dominican Republic U23s, and then Ricky Alba, who scored their lone goal against Tulsa with the Dominican senior side. I am also seeing while we're starting the stream, and hopefully this is a good omen for how the rest of the stream goes, but New Mexico United concede to a Nick Marcanic goal in Charleston. So hoping that sort of energy continues tonight and we have more positive news. But yeah, Nick Marcanic off to a good start for Charleston. But all that being said, I think we want to talk the lineup and all that sort of stuff. But as people are tuning in, we do these watch alongs for a lot of the away matches for Locomotive. And if you are tuning into this and you're not a regular listener to the podcast, we do a pretty much weekly podcast, although sometimes more frequently based on the amount of games. And we typically review and preview all the Locomotive action going on. So be sure to subscribe on wherever you get your podcasts. But with that admin stuff out of the way, Mika, I mean, the lineup almost sort of sets itself in terms of with the injuries that Locomotive have, with the absences for international duty. There weren't too many other directions that we would have anticipated Brian going tonight.
yeah, I mean, I guess the biggest one is in net. Javier Garcia getting I think his first ever start for Locomotive in a competitive match. He did get some minutes against FC Juarez in midweek in the friendly, with an eye to getting him some time on the field ahead of this game. So Javier in net. It is his birthday today, per Loco's admin. So hoping for a good birthday debut and performance for him. Up top, a big miss is Amando Moreno, who is with El Salvador. Didn't make the match day squad for El Salvador against Bonaire, I think it was. But Garay made the bench there, so he's missing as well. Yeah, I mean, I think this is pretty much an enforced 11, right? Between the players I just said that are missing and then the injuries we still have. Of course, Brandon Craig suffered that injury last time out, and it's looking like probably like 4 to 6 weeks for him with the high ankle sprain. So Dollenmeyer checks back in, and then still waiting on Petrovic and Rivas to get healthy, both with an Achilles and a back, respectively. Those types of injuries are just a little bit, I think, unpredictable to kind of figure out when they'll be back. So, yeah, I think this is the best 11 we could have put out with everyone available or not. So,
Yeah, it hasn't been great in terms of the early starts of the season, just from a fitness perspective and availability perspective. But yeah, with the I think obviously, a lot of the questions are going to come from supporters, I would say, and a lot of the conversation that we've been having has been around midfield recently, and with Nick Hines coming in for Miles Lyons, likely going to play on the left.
Yep.
Lucas Stauffer, who's been so good out on the wing for Locomotive, likely going to start on the right-hand side. Do we think that we'll see in this midfield trio of Calvillo, Rosen, Vasilovic, do we think we'll see maybe an improvement in the fluency with that change with Nick? Or I guess, like, do you, because it just feels like the one part of the team that has really struggled to get going so far this season in controlling matches?
Well, it's hard to say because I think that left side is completely different now between Nick Hines and Noah Dolomire both being asked to start now. So where we would see Tony Alfaro and Lucas Stauffer naturally, now that's changed. So who knows how that's going to work chemistry wise. I think the two of them need to build up a rapport. And then, that forces Tony Alfaro into the right center back area where he is a lefty. And so, the angles are a little bit awkward for him on that side. So fluency on the wing, I think, is going to be a big question mark tonight, just in general. But I am happy to see that Nick is starting. I think he deserves a run out. I think we haven't seen the best of Miles Lyons yet this season. And that's not to write him off or anything. I just think that he hasn't been as effective as he would have liked to be. So I think maybe some time on the bench for him would be a good thing. So, and then he can always come on and make an impact. And we know he's got, pace to burn. So that might actually end up being a good way to utilize him on the night. So
Totally agree. I've got a stream as well now too. It looks like there's some Jen Ayers doing some TikTok dances out there.
Yes, that's what I just saw too. So it sounds like we're on the same track stream wise.
New owner in Vegas, same old lights, I think is how I would round that up. I as far as how lights line up, they go through obviously some enforced changes. The interesting one for me is that Austin Wormel, who had been their starting keeper, has actually been dropped, and Raiko Arozarena is getting the start in goal tonight. So a change seemingly not enforced at keeper, which is a bit unorthodox, I guess you would say. Like, given the fact that I don't know that there's a whole heck of a lot that Wormel could do better in the Tulsa game. He gets kind of hung out to dry a couple of times, and then obviously the Goodrum goal, like, I don't know, two keepers in net don't save that one. So
right.
Yeah, not really sure what brought that change about. Locomotive fans will absolutely remember the center back pairing for Las Vegas Lights as Fabian Garcia, who spent a lot of time at San Antonio in this, marshaling their defense, is next to Emra Clementa, who spent a productive spell at Oakland Roots. And so they, though, down the flanks, I would say, is where they maybe are a little bit weaker in that Berriman and Smart. Sean Smart won the College Cup with Clemson like this year, and then signed a pro deal for Lights, which is very cool. And he is making the jump from the NCAA like straight to the USL Championship, which is quite a gulf, I would say, for many players to try to manage. We talked about in our preview episode JC Ngondo, who starts in central midfield, a product of Amiens Academy, spent some time at Paris FC as well in their reserves. So, a bright talent out of France. And then Coleman Gannon and Valentin Noel get the start next to him. So again, a very like young midfield, I would say, for Lights, and maybe youth is the sort of the theme here, as Joe Zhao is basically like by far like the oldest player in this starting 11. Solomon Asante moved to the bench as well. So we get Corey Bennett in that striker position, and then Gausu Samake is the other winger. Samake, I don't think he did not start against Tulsa. So it is a lot of changes for Vegas, and hopefully, I mean, I guess you would be thinking that it's something that hopefully Locomotive can take advantage of.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the thing that stands out to me about Rosarena is for a keeper, he's quite small, 5'11". So, and really hasn't had a whole lot of appearances at this level. I think he was with Tampa Bay Rowdies for some time, but maybe it was just a backup there. Didn't have very many appearances.
Sure.
So yeah, I mean, hopefully we can. I mean, we do have some big bodies that we can, throw around in the box and on set pieces. So hopefully that'll be a way to threaten Rosarena's net. Um, just side note, Las Vegas Lights seem to be competing with Loudon for who can field the most Frenchmen. that's three Frenchmen, Garcia and Gondo and Noel there. So
Yeah.
I just thought that was interesting. But and then yeah, Joe Zhao, who's a veteran now. I mean, I remember when he was coming through at like Borussia Dortmund and stuff. I mean, he's now 31 years old, which is crazy. But where Vegas's, I think, advantage lies over us tonight is on the bench. I think they just have more to choose from. I mean, literally, the numbers are greater than ours. With Charlie Adams on the bench, if they need to just shore things up, and then Asante to come on and make an impact. But I have kickoff now, Phil. What about you?
I'm at 10 seconds.
Okay.
So I can stop at maybe 20 and then we'll sync up.
I'm like right behind you, so it's all good.
Oh, are you? Okay, I hit
Yeah.
20 seconds right now.
20.
Okay. So it'll be just a fractional difference. But yeah, we are underway. So thanks everyone for joining in. If anyone has a particular refreshment that you're enjoying here at kickoff, let us know in the chat what you're enjoying. I know Mika, you've got the water tonight. You're keeping it clean.
I'm keeping it clean, and I put some like what's it called? Not like Gatorade, but like a hydration like powder in it. So
like a liquid IV or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. So keeping it refreshing for sure.
I cooked myself up a little cocktail, I'm not gonna lie. So for those who follow me on Twitter, you may have seen like the false start of we were going out for my birthday's on Monday. So we were going out for my birthday this weekend. My wife had this thing planned, and then my daughter, through no fault of her own, pulled up with a fitness issue. So anyways, we ended up staying home instead, which means I get to do this, which I'm totally happy to spend my time watching some Locomotive soccer with you, Mika, and all y'all in the chat. But I do have, so in terms of whatever consolation for not being able to go out, I did indulge in one of the indulgent things I think that exists in our current society, which is crumble cookies.
Ooh.
And I have a birthday cake,
confetti
cookie right here. So I'll mute. I won't be chomping on that like on mic, but
this is
but
not
I will
an
be
ASMR channel, so
no, but I will be enjoying that throughout the first half here. So anyways, thanks everybody for joining, and kind of a cagey start, like a little bit feels like both teams are trying to get their feet underneath them right now.
Yeah, and Brian made a fool of me already, because actually Noah Dolenmeyer is starting on the right.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Three. So Tony Alfaro is in a more natural position for him. So that is good.
Yeah, no, that's totally fair. And Eric Calvillo does well to win a free kick out here on the left flank for Locomotive. And I will say Moshe Bane and Stauffer have shown some really good set piece deliveries early in the season. Not that it's resulted in much in terms of goals, but it has been an avenue for Locomotive creating some chances.
Absolutely. And I'm looking for Lucas to have a big game. Obviously, he was really effective for Lights last year in what was still a poor season, but he had a good season personally. So hopefully he'll be fired up for this one. And yeah, I was just going to say this. Mark Ponce saying how big or small for that matters the Vegas field. It looks so narrow, like more than ours.
Yeah.
Ooh, just got taken out by his own man. Rosarena, man. That's going to be a dead leg right there. Ouch.
Yeah. put it into that like corridor of uncertainty. Unfortunately, no Locomotive player was making that run, and that was Garcia, actually one of the most experienced defenders out there, who collided with Rosarena. For this, how would you feel about Stauffer as a winger? I mean, I think in a lot of respects he kind of is, like in this system. He, we say wing back because he does have defensive duties, but with the amount that the center backs cover for them, I would say we are essentially seeing him as a winger. When he's on the left-hand side, he does obviously cheat onto his right foot a lot more. So we'll maybe see him more of a pure winger, like in this match. Hopefully like whipping some crosses in for Dylan. But yeah, I think we more or less are seeing what it looks like as what he looks like as a winger. But
Dolenmeyer kind of getting caught on the ball there on the far side.
Yeah, eventually does the right thing and just boots it once he wins it back. But yeah, that was a little bit loose from Noah early. The press is definitely on, and it's actually one back here. Stauffer, I think, left it for Moshibane, but not able to make anything of it in Vegas, trying to play out.
Oh, Dolenmeyer pressing high. That's interesting.
And is that? Yeah, it's Basulovic with the he's got the face mask.
All right. Well, he did take that knock to the face.
Against the Juarez.
Out. Yeah.
In the Juarez friendly, yeah. Stauffer tried to play it infield, just a miscommunication there. It looked like with Calvillo.
Yeah. And here's these transitions.
Look at Joe Zhao.
Yeah, where Vegas can be dangerous.
Good challenge by Alfaro. Leaves Zhao down, but great tackle by Alfaro, and then a good block subsequently. But yeah, those transition moments, and that was through the middle of the field. Like that wasn't a I think often it's highlighted the space behind the wing backs, but that was just straight down the middle of the field.
Yeah, it looked like Nick Hines was trying to take one for the team with the tactical foul, but just couldn't get around him.
Yeah.
Pretty good pace.
Yeah, especially at and I know this is going to be odd to say, but at his age, right. Zhao definitely still has a turn of pace on him. And I do think Locomotive have some. I think Locomotive have some work to do in terms of just how they build up, because it's been such a I guess bug as this. Zhao threatening to get in behind. Good recovery by Alfaro.
Oh, what a tackle.
Man,
that's twice now though that Zhao's been able to just put the afterburners on and dash right through midfield. But that's a good challenge. Very well timed.
Yeah, it looked good. And you have to obviously get it very, very right when you go in that area. I think he's maybe a little lucky because timing wise, I don't know that he gets the ball first technically, but he does like get plenty of the ball. I think one of those, maybe. I think we might be a little lucky on that one, but
maybe so. Yeah, on that second viewing.
No, I think in general though, we're probably, we're due for something to go our way. One of these times.
Yeah, commentary saying El Paso getting away with one. All right.
Light's able to fight off the pressure and maintain possession. But yeah, it's interesting in the press how it's Basulovic, Moshibane, and Dylan pressing as like a 3.
Yeah.
but in possession, obviously, Basulovic dropping a little bit deeper, but Light's trying to go long, but Alfaro able to cut that one out, and Calvillo shaping a nice pass as Dylan makes a run out to the left-hand side, earns a corner. I think the yeah. I think in that case, I was wanting Eric to turn and actually run with the ball like for a little bit.
He had some space, yeah.
Yeah. Like I'm glad he spotted the pass. I'm not trying to nitpick necessarily, but it did seem like I think in general I've just wanted our midfield to be more eager to like turn and drive forward with the ball. Where we don't really seem to do a whole lot of that, but Stauffer over the corner went into traffic, but Dolenmeyer not able to get the header right.
That's what you want, though.
Yeah,
You're the big guy, and it wasn't straightforward for Las Vegas defending this.
No, just the timing was off with Dolenmeyer's header, but
yeah, it kind of gets under it.
But if Stauffer keeps delivering corners into that space, like there will be opportunities for sure.
Interestingly, we're in the home kits.
Right. This year for Vegas, though, I want to say their white kits are maybe their home. Like, I think the white kits are maybe their primary.
Oh, is it? Okay.
I think they went like sort of extremely basic with lights this year because the Hummel deal was agreed 5 days before the season. So,
right. Everything was 5 minutes before the season for this side. Yeah.
There's Javi Garcia over the ball. It is his birthday, like we mentioned, so hoping he can give us a gift.
Yes.
on his birthday.
He did not inspire confidence in the FC Juarez friendly, unfortunately. He had that really big mistake for the third goal.
Yeah.
Where he kind of just touched it, just heavy touch, right into the path of the Juarez attacker to just lay it up. So,
yeah.
He needs a big game today for sure.
Faro was looking to break lines with that pass, didn't quite get it right. Hines and Dylan, though, combined well to win it back. Good ball from Hines to Stauffer. Stauffer lined one up. He just kind of lost his footing as he went to strike there, but
it seems like Locomotive is trying to get to the box in as few passes as possible.
Yeah.
Which is interesting. I mean, I'm sure Brian Clairhout would have wanted a fast start from his side, of course, but yeah,
Calvillo
transitions very quick.
Looking for Dylan, back to Calvillo. I think there might be some tape review there of the overplaying. I think Calvillo, if he gets it in that spot, like absolutely needs to fire and
pulling up here.
And it looks like he pulled up away from contact. I didn't see any particular challenge.
Yeah, that was awkward. What happened here?
It was really strange. Hoping he can continue, because obviously I would say options wise on the bench, it's sort of like in midfield, it's Lalito and
Diego Abarca.
Yeah. So
yeah, two very young players.
It does look like he's definitely going to try to continue. But now he's taking a jog down the touchline. Yeah, it is wild. Like, this is such a narrow pitch. It is really wild. Like, and that's coming from us.
Arena soccer vibes.
I do really like this stand they've put on the far side, because it used to just be open like outfield space. So I'm not saying
it's
Locomotive
less advertising, so I don't
Yeah.
mind.
I'm not saying Locomotive need to do something like that, but I like some temporary seating on the I know that would be hard to construct like all the time.
Yeah. Just need our own stadium in it.
Yeah. Yeah. I think Lights in possession here. I think 15 minutes in, the vibe is like,
I don't know about what this comment in the chat, which is why 5 at the back doesn't work in USL. That's way too sweeping of a comment. Many
yeah.
people play 5 at the back in
I'd
this
say
league.
you have a harder time finding people that play back fours. Like Vegas is like trailblazing here with a back four.
Yeah, I think that's probably a stretch.
I think the biggest thing is just how you, because there are a lot of teams that play back five, play a back five that play super defensive with their wing backs. And I think when you get more adventurous there, it just requires like more coordination and more
Well, yeah,
it's more technically difficult to pull off.
Because your center backs have to be monstrous athletes to cover the space that the wing backs leave behind. I think we've seen that with our side, that Tony Alfaro and Noah Dolenmeyer have to do a lot of sprinting.
Yeah, a couple of good switches of play there, and Calvillo's looking for Dylan. And Moshe Bane, I guess I don't know why Moshe Bane is like not gambling there on the back post, because Dylan's not going to be able to put this on goal, right? Like, so his only option is to nod it across, and our other striker has given up on the play.
Yeah, that's not great, is it?
Yeah, I just, when you see that ball like that switch of play, or that ball over the top towards Dylan, like, you've got to be gambling. Like, someone's got to be gambling that he's going to get the knockdown.
And we've low-key been advocating for Toomey to be taken out of midfield, so he really needs to show more leading the line.
Yeah, we want him in those like forward areas, because I think he can really thrive. But Liam, I think, has actually had a decent start. Couple of nice switches of play. Stauffer tracking that one and earning a corner.
Looks like Toomey's gonna take this one.
Yep. Light's able to clear. Hines back to Garcia. Long ball up towards Dylan, not accurate. And that's where like, I don't know. Second, I know it's not second phase of a set piece because it's been like cleared all the way back to the keeper, but it still sort of is. And just seems like there's a lot of opportunity in those to not like lump it, but because they're conceding more space.
Credit to Vegas too, though. I mean, they are kind of pressing the issue.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think he gives.
This is interesting because now Akinyode is bombing out of the back line too. I don't know what the instruction is there on getting to loose balls from the back line, but Jesus.
Yeah.
if you're gonna do that, you got to win the ball. That's,
Yeah.
I mean, he's wildly out of position there.
Yeah. Dollenmeyer wrestling here, able to come away with it. I think it was Samake who was challenging. And then Bennett. Sort of dangerous playing it out from here. And Vegas able to keep the pressure on. Cross
Very
comes in.
bouncy pitch too.
Yeah.
That's the smart move by Eric Calvillo. Just clear that.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
Well, 20 minutes gone, still scoreless, so no disasters yet.
Going in behind for Joe Zhao against Alfaro again. Dollenmeyer did not find the header. I mean, he basically has to win the header there. Like,
I think he did just put him off though. So.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. But Tony gives Joe Zhao a lot of space here to cross.
Stauffer trying to press, and Baruman gets by him. Going down the line. It's Noel getting forward that time. That was a good challenge by Akinyode.
Very good, yeah. Very easy for them to get down that wing.
Yeah, and Dollenmeyer wants way too much time so far early on. He's getting caught a lot.
Fair to say we look a little leggy.
Yeah. Chance here, though. Dylan giving Moshabane something to run onto. Look to get it back to Justin, but couldn't quite. Toomey able to recollect. Dollenmeyer trying to get involved. And then Bolu needs to. That
just went out.
That was bad. Like getting pressed into giving the ball away from a transition like that is really bad. They take it quickly. Garcia does well to put him off and collect it. That was actually very good goalkeeping from Javi Garcia, because Corey Bennett was one-on-one.
Yeah, good goalkeeping. He doesn't bite all the way down, so that's good. I'm able to get a palm to it, it looks like.
He went to go around him, and that was really well done. Like,
yeah, hopefully that'll give him some confidence, but Jesus, the quick play from the whistle. They need to be paying more attention.
Yep.
I mean, Vegas are up for it.
Absolutely. Rose has been looking for Stauffer out there. Obviously, this time doesn't get it right, but he has been looking for that switch quite often. This is is really crazy that like we are talking about a fifth a 5th match this week. And it's the first week of the season. Well done by Basulovic to win that back. But again, just slow to the second ball. Like, we're just not winning a lot of those 50-50s.
Well, I think after this, the schedule will start to normalize, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Next weekend is Heinz does well here.
Is next weekend the Derby on the road? Am I making that up?
Let's go in Locomotive's way. I don't think Sean Smart can have too many complaints here. Like, he takes a few bites at Heinz and then ends up sort of dragging him to the ground.
Yeah, he hooks his arm there.
Yeah. Yeah, it is the Derby next. Moshabani and Stauffer over this one. Laid off for Stauffer to the back post. Collected by Basulovic. How's it go? Oh,
that would have been something. Wow. Hey, I don't mind that.
No.
Have a go.
Not at all. Not at all. With the way we've been scoring goals or the lack thereof this season, like, absolutely have a dig. And that did not look that far wide.
The home commentator saying Arozarena punches that. No, he doesn't. He does not get on that.
He punches his defender's head, I think.
Yeah, yeah.
Dylan is absolutely, like, Justin Dylan, I think, is the only person that the ball, like, reliably sticks to.
Right.
Rosen Moshaban linking up. Calvillo looking for Dylan and just overcooked it.
Nice idea.
Yeah.
More of that, please.
Well, and you look at how a decent look at goal comes from linking up in the midfield and advancing the ball, like, via the dribble. I'm not trying to say I know everything by any stretch, but just, like, more passing. Dylan Meyer is really struggling with the pace of, I think it's Samake down that flank.
Yeah, he's sucking air.
Have we talked about the fact that Dennis Sanchez low-key looks like Vinny from Jersey Shore?
Yes, he does.
That was crazy. My brain was actually, like, for a split second, was like, is this some sort of, like, collab? I mean, I know Pauly D lives in Vegas, so.
That's right. He's got, like, a residency or something, right?
Yeah, I think he just, like, pretty much just DJs nonstop.
Well, luckily nothing came of that corner.
Yeah.
That was kind of an interesting restart. He
Yeah.
was winding up like he's gonna go long, and then just
Sort of putted it.
Yeah. Samake's been a terror down that
Yeah.
left side.
Yeah, he's a bit of a nuisance. Just like physically, he is causing issues. Tons of energy. Again, the link ups in tight spaces lead to some space. Stauffer's got options. He opts for the cutback. I think he actually takes the wrong option there. I think he needs to drive it
Across the
in
box.
towards the 6-yard box.
Yeah.
But
that was nice play.
Again, Rose and Calvillo link up in midfield and good things happen.
Passing in midfield. Who would have thought?
Yeah. Sulovic looking to take Samake on. He's not biting as of yet. Stauffer lifts it towards the penalty spot, or towards the edge of the 6-yard box, I should say, but Rosarena able to come away with it. Signs, though. Signs of
life.
Signs of life. Locomotive haven't really fashioned like a true chance yet. But the patterns are starting to emerge. They just got to be really careful about the attacks from Vegas going down these flanks, because they are having success for sure. Vegas trying to find a way through, but Locomotive staying organized, keeping them at arm's length at the moment. Ball goes in. Garcia stands up to it again.
Great goalkeeping.
Yeah. Can't take anything away from what Javi Garcia's done tonight.
I wore the Ketterer shirt for a reason.
Yeah, manifesting.
Really closes the angle well there, Javi does.
That was great. Just made himself big and well done. It does look like a card is issued. Maybe Nick Hines. Obviously, they were in replay, so I did not see the nature of the challenge, but
no,
not a ton in the way of protestations from Nick, though. And having one of those fullbacks the way that they've been playing down the flanks, having one of those on a booking is not ideal, I guess, is probably what I would say.
Yeah. Now Noel and Gannon are over it.
Who's going to take the free kick? It's going to be Noel. Tries to go to the far post. Hines wins the initial header. Gets put back in, and it's in off the post. Fabian Garcia, of all people, San Antonio FC, longtime center back, and yeah, Garcia dancing in Vegas. So 1-0 Vegas.
Yeah, kind of a free header for Garcia there. And he arcs it into that far corner really well. I mean, that far side, that far post. I don't think Javier could do much more than he did.
Yeah, it's it's exactly what you can't do basically if you're Locomotive on the road. Especially given just the struggles that we have had offensively, but plenty of time to play, obviously, as Hines trying to get onto this one and will get there. And I think deflected behind for no, he gives a goal kick, but could have swore that took a deflection.
Looks like it.
Oh man. Well, and has Brian made a sub as well? It looks like Nick Hines has come off.
Wow, that's a big call right there. Because
He brought on Miles, I think.
I mean, he gives away the foul that sets up this free kick. Then he clears it out to the ultimate assister of the goal.
Yeah.
This was a big opportunity for Nick, an opportunity missed. That's really unfortunate. If indeed he got subbed, it looked like it, but they're not showing it on the broadcast.
He did get subbed, and
Yeah.
Locomotive have a player down as well, but Stauffer's got it on the left-hand side. Just couldn't get it out of his feet quick enough, but it will be a corner. We did have a player down in that sequence as well, so hoping that obviously there's nothing. Well, Liam Rose has a hand on his knee, and he looks to be in quite a bit of pain. So Ngannou did get booked actually for this. It looks like.
That looked painful.
Yeah. Hoping it's just a contact.
So now Miles Lyons is on. I said at the top that I really haven't been impressed with what he's done so far, but Nick Hines couldn't have had a worse cameo. So, I mean, what do we think? Do we think Miles takes his game to another level finally, or?
I sure hope so. I think I mean it could absolutely be a wake up call. It could be a wake up call to Miles, and knowing that there's competition is, I think, important. And knowing anyone who feels comfortable at this level, comfortable enough that they'll never be benched, it could be victim to some complacency, I think. So
absolutely. Well, hoping Liam can continue here.
Yeah, he is not moving comfortably, but it does. Hopefully, it's just like a Charlie horse and not any sort of actual injury and something he can jog off.
Just like a dead leg or something. Yeah.
Yeah, it does look like he's moving. Not unique, the pre-halftime sub in USL today, because Bob Lilly actually yanked a player off like 19 minutes in or something like that.
Ouch.
Or 25 or something. It was early.
And managers don't like to do that. I mean, that's tough when you feel like you have to make that call.
Yeah. No, it's definitely not something that they feel good about, especially when it's going to damage the confidence of the player.
Right.
And sometimes you got to make that call. Like, you can't.
Right.
Yeah, Stauffer's, they're definitely targeting that area right in front of the keeper.
It is a bit breezy in Las Vegas today. You can see the corner flags kind of swaying in the wind, so the free kicks, it's a bit of a different calculus on them today, I think.
Yeah. Well, I'm taking this opportunity to eat some of this cookie.
Yeah, by all means, man.
I gotta say, I mean, birthday cake is totally fine. You know, it's a good solid sugar cookie. I will say in general that I had a dulce de leche one earlier.
Uh-huh.
That was absolutely out of this world.
Can take the boy out of El Paso.
Absolutely. Dolmeyer going up towards Dylan, but couldn't get the flick right.
Let me ask you something, Phil, and chat, feel free to chime in too. When a manager feels like they have to make a sub before halftime, is it actually the manager's fault for picking that player?
I
Because
mean,
it's because you're admitting that your plan didn't go to plan, right?
yeah.
Or am I being harsh?
I think it's a I think it, as with anything, it's probably like somewhere in the middle, but at the same time, I would agree. Um, I would agree that in general, if you have to alter the plan, now I would say there are flavors of it where it's like if there is a really obvious underperformance from a player and you do a like for like, then that's like one flavor of pre halftime substitution because it's like my plan is fine, you're just like not up for it.
Right.
I think if someone has to make a tactical sub to change the system that early in the game, then yeah, that's like an admission that the coach has got it wrong.
And I think in this instance, it's probably the former of
yeah, unfortunately for Nick, I think.
For it. Yeah.
Which is not great, obviously, given the fact that I think like a lot of the conversation around the squad this year was, hey, we're gonna stay pretty like we're gonna be ruthless, like we want everybody up and down the bench to be able to like contribute and stuff. And I think Brian's like showing pretty early on that there's only a handful of guys like in the squad that he relies on or feels he can rely on. And that's troubling like this early in the season to have sort of like a similar sort of situation to last year where it was like, 13, 14 players that were always the ones that sort of had to start. And anyone beyond that was almost like an admission of like, we're just not going to be like really in it today.
Right. Yeah, MA Ponce 617. To your point earlier, Nick had an opportunity given the lackluster performance of Miles. This one I chalk off to Nick's lack of energy. Yeah. Fair enough. Which, I know it's been a grueling time for the squad, but it doesn't make that much sense that Nick would be tired, right?
Yeah, I mean, apart from what, the time in the Bravos friendly, and he hasn't played like any full 90s or anything like that. He's been subbed on. But
I guess everyone can't be built like Lucas Stauffer.
yeah, the guy is just like, I don't know. He's got some kind of, what was the those like recovery those post-surgery recovery thing, like pig placentas or whatever that Pep Guardiola used to.
Oh my gosh, Dr. Kuat.
Yeah. Or maybe he's going to the Samir Nasri drip doctors or whatever.
Drip doctors. Oh,
was it you who sent the Samir Nasri thing in the chat recently, or who was that? Someone else who?
It might have been someone else.
It's like there's only one person, like there's one person that gets that kind of hate or whatever, and then he just is like, and it's Robbie, what's his name, from Arsenal Fan TV or whatever.
Oh yeah.
And he's like, Samir Nasri, and then he like starts boxing, like shadow boxing the camera, like he's gonna fight Samir Nasri. That was after he, like right after he went to City or whatever.
I hate that guy.
We're not far away from the half. Rosarena going long. Dollenmeyer wins the header.
Fatmob is calling it a Javier Garcia own goal. How the hell is that possible?
I don't know about that. Like, I think it does technically touch him, but I feel like it crossed the line. Lions like make a forward run or pass challenge.
Just really haven't been impressed with him early doors. I mean, we know what he's capable of and that he can play better than this, but I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I think this is Brian Clairhout's 40th game in charge. So, um, I mean, do we think the pressure on him just grows, Phil? I mean, I think we've had a pretty decent sample size of Clairhout ball, if you will. Team is super different this year, but
Yeah.
still.
I think that buys him some for sure. I think if if my opinion mattered in any way as Calvillo and Stauffer combining here, maybe we're onto something. Just blocked away, not able to capitalize on the break there. But I would say in general, like if my opinion mattered, what I would want to see is, especially offensively, repeatable, sustainable patterns that produce goal scoring chances. Right? Like if my manager is good, that's what I want. I want like clear signs that Stauffer's onto this again, goes with his left, but blazes over. Just got to keep that down, Luke. Just got to cut across it on your weaker foot, you know?
Yeah, go into the corner. Who made that pass? It was a nice pass.
Moshe Bane, I
Moshe
think.
Bane?
Yeah.
Very decent.
But yeah, I think that would be the thing for me that would make the difference between sort of like staying the course and not, is just seeing the repeatable patterns. And I think in general, so far this season, I'm not seeing the vision offensively. And that I'm not in training every day. I'm not privy to what the conversations are that they're having. And I just don't see the production yet. And I think we've been overly, I think the thing that Brian often kind of points to is that Hartford match, like where we had a pretty high XG. And I don't think we'd necessarily take into account the fact that Hartford, once they scored, like they really retreated.
They stopped playing.
Yeah. Like, and so I think we're putting a little too much stock in how much we created against Hartford, because we did it against a team that was inviting the pressure on because they were trying to see the game out. Like they didn't have the legs to go press like fucking maniacs like they did for the first like half hour. So they knew that they had to just sort of bunker and protect, and it allowed us to create a lot more chances, which is good, but we've got to be able to create it at even, like in an even game state, and not when we're chasing from behind.
Right.
I will say that overall in this match, I am seeing more. I'm not saying I'm seeing enough, but I am seeing more in terms of the link up, in terms of the ability to actually cause Vegas some problems. But in general, it obviously hasn't been good enough. And we haven't really made Vegas that uncomfortable, like at really any point in the half. Like a couple of half chances, don't get me wrong, but we've, even when they're under pressure, it doesn't feel like we're doing that much to really put them off.
So 1-0 at the half. They're calling it a Javier Garcia own goal, but I don't see how that is.
Very
Actually
harsh.
edging them in possession and total shots, 53% and 7 shots to their 4.
Sure.
But in the statistic that matters, we're behind.
Yeah, and I'm trying to think of the shots. I would say a lot from outside the area.
Lucas Stoffer has had 4 of those shots.
As per.
So they're calling it an own goal because it comes off his boot, I guess, but I thought it had crossed the line by then.
Yeah, I think here's the thing. If I'm in charge of the dubious goals in USL, and there's even a hint that the attacker scored it, why take it away from him?
Right.
There's no one's gonna, drag you on CBS Sports Golasso for how did they award this goal to to Fabian Garcia? Just let him have it. I don't I'd rather that. And it sucks for Javi because his goalkeeping was actually probably one of the bright spots of the half, in terms of he actually was very good and
good.
Kept two. He basically keeps a big chance from being a big chance by intervening prior to Bennett being able to shoot when he's trying to go around him. And then the other was he stops Corey Bennett in a one-on-one with good goalkeeping and narrowing down the angle, closing down the space, and making himself big. So yeah, it's actually extremely harsh on Javi Garcia, which is not, if you had told me that we were 1-0 down to a Javi Garcia own goal, I would have probably assumed that it was a memeable moment, and in reality, it's extremely unfortunate that he's even been credited with it.
Yeah. I mean, that may change, but I don't know.
Yeah. And I mean, come on, it's me, it's us Locomotive fans, and we're asking you to give a goal to Fabian Garcia, who
right,
an absolute nemesis for years in San Antonio. But although there is a member of Seriously Loco in our group chat who thinks that we should have had Fabian, that we should have signed him, which, I mean, fair enough, but he probably was one of the best available center backs in the league. But I mean, Mika, the stat lines are, it's not completely dire, but it just feels like one of those performances from Locomotive where on a night where you'd expect them to, I guess, just be the better team for periods of the game, we are kind of going punch for punch with Lights right now. There's not an obvious gulf in quality sort of in any phase of the game.
No, I mean, there's been a couple of bright moments in midfield when we're actually getting the ball down and trying to play through the lines. I think, I mean, I don't know, call it an excuse, call it a reason, but this team looks gassed. And, that's a consequence of sharing a stadium with a baseball team, right? I mean, yeah, it's kind of unsustainable, and I feel that. I feel for Brian Clairhout and his coaching staff in that regard, but at the same time, we need to see. We've seen some patterns. We need to see more, right? There needs to be repeat, like you said it better than I could say it. There needs to be more, repeatable patterns of play. And obviously things have not necessarily gone to plan with the Nick Hines substitution, and yeah, it's just very unfortunate. But still 45 minutes left to play, and as we've seen through some of the USL action today, a lot can change. Loudon opened the scoring against Detroit, and they did not win. So hopefully, we can follow suit. But yeah, it's been pretty mediocre, I would say.
Yeah. Yeah, overall not the sort of performance to get things back on track. That being said, like like you pointed out, it's like how much of this do we assign to the players or to the coaching staff, and how much do we assign to the fact that they've played 5 games, one of which was completely of our own by our own choice, like it's completely self-inflicted. And they've played 5 games. We started a strong lineup, albeit for about half an hour against FC Juarez, but still extra minutes in the legs that wouldn't have existed otherwise. And in general, I guess like the fact that there are injuries in the playing squad, plus these now absences due to international duty, there's just this sort of perfect storm of the team is going to be able to point to the legginess and the fact that, hey, like the squad is just gassed. And when I guess like the counterpoint is always going to be like, you knew exactly what was going to happen, right? Like, and in theory, the squad needs to be prepared to handle like these sort of absences. Like, you would have been able to, it would have been quite predictable to know that Jamali Waite and Amando Moreno are going to be on international duty during this window. Like, we knew that they'd be gone essentially.
Yeah.
So when you're planning your squad, I'm not saying that you should be looking at, on Wednesday, August 5th or whatever, like we've got this game, it's not, you're not going to plan it that in that much of granular detail, but some of these details have to be considered in squad construction, not to mention when you are planning a friendly for midweek of a stretch at the beginning of the season that is already heavy because of the baseball scheduling. So
Right.
anyways, I know that's a bit ranty there, but it's just, you can point to the club, you can point to the coaching staff, you can point to the players, like, who have to deal with it. And in all of it, they're just there's enough blame to go around, I guess.
Indeed. Ay, ay, ay. Well, in other good news, New Mexico United are getting absolutely battered.
Yeah.
3-0 Charleston Battery over New Mexico United in the 66th minute.
Yeah.
So, praise
Yeah.
be.
It's funny because this is Charleston doing what they absolutely were capable of doing against North Carolina, and should have done last week. Who did they play last week?
Wow, New Mexico United benched Tambakis. What's going on there?
They hauled him off?
No, they didn't start him.
Oh, weird.
They started someone named Shakes.
Is he on the bench? Or
He's
is
on
he
the
hurt?
bench. Yeah.
That's weird.
That is
because Tambakis
bizarre.
made 9 saves against Rhode Island. He was the only thing keeping that from being an absolute battering.
Very weird.
Which
very,
I guess
very
is proofs in the pudding now, because they are getting hammered in Charleston. So,
And
and
I think he
this
stopped a penalty against Pittsburgh. Did he not?
he did.
Or
No, I don't think so.
what did he do in that game that was like?
He made a couple of big saves. Actually, like right at the beginning of the game, he made a couple of stops that were
Oh, he was
pretty
player of the match. Okay.
clutch. But yeah, interesting too that Arturo Rodriguez and Aaron Malloy get the win as well. That's just like, if I don't know, goals being contributed from midfield.
Sacramento Republic dropped points today to Indy 11.
Oh, did they end up losing, or they ended up drawing that game?
They drew that game.
Interesting. I've been so complimentary of what Sac Republic is doing. That's a really good point for Indy. That's a really good point for Indy.
North Carolina FC drew against Tampa Bay Rowdies. That's also a good point for them.
Yeah. If you want, well, speaking of Sac Republic, real quick, if you want to be slightly more depressed, Nick Ross, obviously they don't get all 3 points, but Nick Ross dropping a 7.4 midfield performance in a draw with no assist or goal. So like his 61 for 67 passing and 6 for 8 on
Remember the
long.
golden era of our midfield, like Richie Ryan, Nick Ross, Dylan Mares, even
Yeah.
Sebastian Velasquez. I
Yeah.
mean, poof.
Well, and we had an unbelievable midfield, and I mean that last season that they were all together, we were actually the second best team in the league. So, like by record, I think we were the best team in the league on the pitch, but yeah, by record we were.
Yeah.
And yeah, Nick just, winning all his duels and completing every single pass he makes, and sad.
How the mighty fall.
Yep. And we probably could have held on to him. We just didn't. So
another interesting match going on right now is San Antonio versus Colorado Springs. Obviously, a Western Conference battle there.
Yeah.
Neither of which teams have necessarily had the ideal start. I mean, San Antonio with 3 straight draws, I think, right?
Yeah, they did not.
Or 2, sorry.
Yeah, 2 straight draws, which one against Loudoun, one against Tampa Bay. The Tampa Bay Bay draw was
they kind of rescued.
Yeah. They got sort of clobbered, but Tampa Bay weren't able to put them away.
The late night fair tonight is Orange County taking on Miami and their home opener, and then Phoenix Rising hosting Oakland Roots, and Phoenix got to get on the board. They've got 2 losses, so
yeah. I think I picked the Phoenix match as a draw against Roots. Phoenix are very much in like, who are we mode. Like they don't really know. I think right now it's kind of like Panos Armanakis and that's sort of it. Like just everything goes through him, and hopefully he figures it out. So
one signing that Phoenix made that I really liked was John Skiers from Union Omaha.
Yeah.
Really good player. If he can adapt to the championship, I think he'll be very good for them.
No, agreed.
Yeah.
And a player who needs to get up to speed for them is Remy Cabral. Their big signing as a forward. He was the Golden Boot winner in MLS Next Pro last year, and it's one of those things where it's like forwards making a jump up a division always have, I feel like there's, they flip a coin. Like some go Trevor Amon and just go absolutely crazy right out of the gate and adapt like no problem, or some like Remy Cabral, like he couldn't really like get involved in what Phoenix was doing in their last game. I think he takes like 19 touches or something like that. So yeah, watching the goal back, I just can't tell if it's gonna. It looks like it's going in.
So it's that trailing leg.
But I can't tell. It comes off his the sole of his boots,
I guess.
But yeah, stats wise, you would look at this and be like, man, Locomotive sort of unlucky to be behind, but I don't know that that's necessarily the case.
No. Yeah, it does seem to like scorpion off of his foot there.
And same, Jake, same. But I'm pretty sure Sac Republic had to have backed up like a boatload of cash to land him so easily. Plus, like when when it's like, hey, we're the best team in the league and all we need is a number 9 and we want you to be that guy, like pretty easy sales pitch. So
second half about to get underway.
keeping an eye out for any sneaky changes. USL has a bad habit of like when a sub gets good, they don't necessarily notice it. I'd be surprised if we knew any halftime subs, given that we already made a sub in the first half. But both teams are raring to go. I don't know that I've ever seen this long of a pause before.
I feel like I'm like waiting on a FIFA match to start. It's like, come on.
Dude, you got to confirm as well so that we're both in. That's funny. But we are now underway. And sort of immediately went long, and Vegas well, more or less chilling with the ball now. Rosarena trying to go long here. Faro wins the header, but Lights eventually win the ball. Good win back here. I thought Dylan might have an opportunity, but a good sliding intervention there from Garcia, I think.
Oh, Sulovic did well to get away there.
Yeah. Couldn't get the cross into a dangerous area, but yeah, agreed. That was good close control.
Christian says in our group chat, at least NMU is getting clapped. Yeah, that's all we can live for right now, isn't it?
The Schadenfreude is our outlet at the moment.
Truly.
That's what Calvillo called for the foul there. A little bit dramatic from Coleman Gannon, I think it's safe to say, but Garcia going long for Locomotive. Dylan trying to get the flick on. Not able to. Stauffer putting the pressure on, though, on Smart. It was a good idea to go back to Calvillo, but overhit. Just a lot of the passing has that like a steps, like everybody's a step slow or a step slower than the pass anticipates, basically. Like just feels like we're not quite timed up. Or that could be part of the fatigue as well, where you're sort of, you know how quick someone is and they are a step slower because they're just gassed.
Right.
Samake tried to play in Noel there. He got it caught under his feet, luckily, though. And Dolomire trying to, he plays himself into a little bit of trouble, though, and Samake wins it back off him. I don't know why he's trying to dribble it out there. I guess, like, got nowhere to go.
Right.
That was nearly a second. Probably should have. Oh, they gave a corner. I was gonna say he probably should bury that. Just not able to.
That move that Baruman makes to the inside is just too easy.
Yeah. Yeah, Dollenmeyer getting done there is not, you just can't. And then we've got both of our other center backs are.
Oh man, like Dollenmeyer's not even there. Whew,
No.
that's poor.
Yeah. Well, that should be 2. So a little bit of a let off. Stauffer and Akinyode eventually just hoofs it, but Baruman gets it back. Yeah, and the thing is at center back, I think we've made some comments and seen some comments about Dollenmeyer being a little bit gassed, and I think the trouble with our backline at the moment is the only way for us to actually make a change now would be to, like, we would have to change the system. Like, we'd have to bring on a midfielder pretty much, or an attacker. Like, I don't think we'd be able to, because Yuma, I mean, I guess we could bring Yuma on, but that's
a fucking yikes. I'm just gonna say it.
yeah.
No disrespect, obviously, to the player. It's just for that to be your response is a yikes.
Yeah. Well, and it's just we thought he was retiring last year, so that's the, like.
Phil hesitated and Mika said it, right? It's usually the other way around, isn't it?
Yeah. That is atypical for us. No, I would say in general not exactly. I think you said it at the top of the broadcast, like the depth on the bench just isn't there, and obviously, like, given the absences and everything, it's understandable. And at the and like, you would just want it to be more clear. You would just want it to be more clear that that our first choice guys are better than Vegas's, and get out to some kind of lead, knowing that our bench is a little bit shorter and we won't have the ability to bring on a lot of, like, game changers, where Vegas arguably is going to have more to bring off the bench, especially with, like, Solomon Asante. And
this challenge by Tony Alfaro once again.
Really good.
Yeah, really good. But also, like, the fact that he keeps having to do it.
He keeps having to do it, yeah. I think this is a comment to Yuma, the merch model guy, but joke's on you, because the merch model guy is Niall Logue. So Niall Logue is actually the merch model guy, who never made an appearance for Locomotive and hasn't been here for 3 years.
What's interesting about the bench is that Elijah Martin doesn't make it, even though he was able to play a couple minutes against
Vegas.
Juarez.
Yeah. Or against Juarez, yeah.
So that's unfortunate.
Yeah. No, it's a good point.
The intel that we've heard is that Elijah has been just trying to adapt to El Paso. He came here and basically immediately got sick. Sinus infection, allergies, all that kind of stuff. So coming from balmy San Diego up to the mountains, I could kind of see how that could happen. But it's just a fitness thing for him. So hopefully we see him sooner rather than later in a competitive match.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, he could provide some much-needed depth. This is a bad start to the second half.
Yeah, it's been terrible. Samake is cooking Dollenmeyer, too.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure why he pulls up, actually. Like, he's not sensing just how depleted Dollenmeyer is. Like,
if he's right-footed, he's in even worse trouble.
Yeah. Moshabane gets a shot away. Do you keep that in? again, bouncy pitch. Like,
yeah, that like took
took
a
a
really weird
wild
bounce.
spin. It's not often that you see the ball accelerate to that degree, like off the pitch alone. Like the spin of the ball on this pitch actually provided more force behind the ball than the actual strike itself. I know you lying. Now we're just now our chat is almost as unserious as the play that we're witnessing.
Someone said skill issue in regards to Elijah adapting to El Paso. That is harsh, but
Oh,
funny.
Dolenmeyer. I think
card question mark.
I think Dolenmeyer's lucky there. Like,
yikes.
Because he's beaten all ends up. Some decent passing, and Moshe Bonnet can't get it to stick. That's been the thing basically with Toomey is he's just in the link up, like he's not controlling the ball. He's not like linking up well. He's kind of,
you know what it's giving? It's giving Cristiano Francois. Like,
yeah,
coming off a really good season at another club, and then just not adapting,
struggling,
quickly enough.
That was actually decently well done for Miles after an initial sort of issue. And that's crazy. It's just Justin chasing every ball. Like the space is there and we're just not. I genuinely like watching the guys. Like I don't think they can run anymore. Like
right.
I just, and it's not like
they've all got to be in the red zone.
Yeah. And I'm not trying to cook the conditioning or anything like that. It's just, I think they are truly, as Toomey is able to turn and run into some space here. Plays it for Dylan. Oh, and he just couldn't. He just couldn't get it out of his feet.
James Chappelle, welcome to the chat, man.
Man. That was good goalkeeping from a Rosarena as well.
It was. Got to be brave to get in there.
Because Dylan is typically, like, his first touch is quite good, or has been.
Mm-hmm.
They're going Vasilovic. They're bringing on Zacharias. So, in theory, that means a change of shape in midfield to go.
Unless he's dropping.
Yeah. Yeah, it could. Could be that.
Vegas just, I mean, it's been almost an hour and they're still pressing.
No, it's actually, that's been the biggest difference is like just the fitness levels are obvious.
Mm-hmm.
Man. Well, Mika, we're approaching the hour mark. 1-0. Vegas still lead. Locomotive, I don't think have had an actual shot yet in the second half. What do we do?
Survive.
Just Robert Downey Jr. and Tropic Thunder straight down the camera.
Yeah.
Survive.
It is crazy that our best player has been Javier Garcia. Like, that is kind of wild.
Yeah, and I mean, and troubling.
Right. But that's also been the case with Jamali Wade, I think. Like, he's
Oh,
also been our
100%.
best player, which is like, what does that
100%.
say? What does that say about the team? You know.
Yeah. No, I totally agree.
Joaquin Rivas still has a back issue. I think he's going to be a couple more weeks yet.
They were
They
talking
wanted to have him back before the end of the month, but obviously that's not going to happen.
because they were kind of saying April
Mm-hmm.
from the get go, I think, but
Yeah.
the surface is kind of low key crazy because like that ball hit the turf and rolled about 60 yards and didn't lose 1 ounce of the pace on it. Like there was it's like a frictionless surface.
It's very weird.
Locomotive are sort of never mind.
An hour gone. We're 1-0 behind.
Bleak, I think, is probably the word.
Yeah.
Or we could say like predictable outcome of starting the season with 5 games in 12 days.
Right.
But
So here's what I don't understand about the system, Phil, and maybe you can explain it to me, or maybe somebody in the comments can opine.
yeah,
But
chat help.
when we when we are building up, like when we actually are on the ball, the wingbacks are never in the picture. Like they're already so high up that it's
Yeah.
like the center backs have no options, and I don't understand that. Like, and that clearly is by design because it happens every single time. The wingbacks are just not in the picture, and it's like, are they even wingbacks? They're pretty much wingers.
Right. Well, and then you would almost assume that like Noah here, you would have to the center backs would have to carry the ball up the field like to connect to that space.
Right.
Which is nuts. Like that doesn't I think in theory the way it is supposed to work, and it hasn't worked this way, to be very clear. So if it's meant to work this way, it should probably start soon. But I would assume playing with a midfield 3, one of the 3 should ostensibly be playing as a 6 and should be the first pass option for the center backs.
Right.
And then he's supposed to find either another one of the central midfielders or the wing backs.
Mm-hmm.
But we don't have like
But Liam
that
doesn't
type
really
of
show for the ball in those areas.
No, like often I think when you see those type of 6s like who are meant to be the quarterback, they'll drop as Vegas are winning it high up the field here, and Noah Dolenmeyer able to make a diving intervention. Not quite out of danger yet as Berriman is on it. And then Samake competing with Dolenmeyer. Well done, actually, by Noah there. I know we've been like kind of low key dragging him for like half an hour, but that was actually well done. But that said,
this is an interesting question from Jake, though. He says, could that change when Rivas comes back and we move to a 3-man attack? I don't have any faith that we'll move to a 3-man attack.
That was exactly what I was gonna say. I can't help but feel like since we've played this system now every game, I can't help but feel like this is what we want to play. I'm just not seeing the light in terms of like because Liam I think should be dropping way deeper in midfield, but that should also mean that Calvillo and in this case, Basulovic or whoever's like filling that number 8 role, like the goal should be finding them in build up, and like I haven't found that to necessarily be the case either.
It's just not good enough, and I worry that this coaching staff, and I don't know, maybe I'm talking out of turn. I don't know, maybe it's just born out of frustration, but I just worry that we don't have other ideas. And we know that Brian Clarehout coached this system in Sweden, so it's like going with what you know type thing. Whereas
Yeah.
We saw, the likes of Mark Lowry like evolve his system over time. Sometimes it'd be a 4-3-3. Sometimes we would run the diamond.
Hmm.
Sometimes we run 4-4-2.
Yeah.
I just worry that the tactical nuance is not there.
Yeah. And Lucas having to haul down Joe Zhao there, and gets the booking. Although I would say I don't think he really deserved a yellow there. I guess you can make an argument for stopping a counter, um, but yeah, my what's funny is I think there are plenty of back three or back five systems that could operate in the way that the manager wants, and we just don't play them. Because I think if he wanted more attacking wingbacks, I think we should play with like a 3-4-3 or something like that, and just be clear about the fact that, like, yeah, these aren't even wingbacks; these are just wingers, right?
Yeah.
And you build the system that way.
Yeah.
And you play with those two in midfield, where we know that the center backs are going to have to like get more, like be more involved in build up and all that stuff. Zacharias going for goal. But yeah, I just
that.
no, I mean
on this pitch,
right? Like
it through.
Yeah, I mean, you feel like half the time you're gonna, like, if you keep a shot on the ground, it'll hit those like Mario Kart boosters and just keep accelerating like into the goal. So
Yeah.
um
No, Ponce saying we've lacked a fluid attack through the middle. Honestly, if you're in Seriously Loco's group chat, like, that's all I complain about, like, day in, day out. I'm sure the guys are tired of me talking about how midfield's so ass. So I mean, I was just waxing lyrical about like Richie and Nick Ross
Yeah.
and all those guys, Dylan Mares.
Yeah.
I miss that.
Well, and it's funny because what that midfield gave us is something that Brian talks about a lot, which is control. And now Akinyode, I think, is going to get booked here. But we would often talk about how the midfield wasn't, Nick, and although Nick popped up with, a goal here and there and all of that, but I think in general, like we didn't have as much production out of midfield because we were like, they allowed the forwards the freedom to do their thing.
Samake is off, so
yeah,
the nightmare hopefully has ended for Noah Dolenmeyer.
And it looks like they brought on a fullback. So it looks like they might have actually added a defender versus an attacker. Yeah, because now they've got Joe Zhao actually going out to the left. Vegas with a throw here.
We gonna go for the long throw, or
they look like they're kind of setting up for one, but did try to go into the box. That was a good idea but Toomey not able to drag it out of his feet.
Yeah, Toomey's touch has been brutal.
Yeah. Oh, what a save, Javi Garcia. What a save.
Amazing.
Wow.
He
is literally the difference between this being like genuinely embarrassing and not just really embarrassing.
I mean, he's saved 3 goals on his own.
That is an incredible save from Javi Garcia.
Left paw out there, yeah, that's amazing. How does the attacker get between them like that?
When you play a back three, like that sort of can never happen. Like that's the whole point, right? Like, is that space shouldn't exist.
I will say though that I'm very pleased for Javi because I think it was he had a brutal night against FC Juarez. The
Yeah.
crowd were really giving it to him, and it was really just not fun. So I'm happy that he's getting his flowers. But yeah, just would be nice if we could win for him.
I would say too, like, just given stuff, and I mean, it's hearsay, like it's not real, but it does seem, like just based on the moves that the club's made, obviously, like they have moved Javi like down the pecking order, and he is really starting this game because of a paperwork, like because of a visa issue with our loanee goalkeeper, right?
Pascual cannot appear in the league yet.
Yeah. So I'm extra pleased for him in that sense, because for a player who the club is sort of saying like, hey, you're not the number 2 for Jamali, who will get minutes, like, because Jamali's going to be on international duty a couple of times this season. Like, you will absolutely get some minutes. And they kind of said, like, you're not that guy, pal. And he is essentially saying that he is that guy, like, in this performance. He's been wonderful. Free kick for Locomotive here. Calvillo over it. Seeing what we can do here. Calvillo lofts it in, looking for a header down from Dylan. Calvillo trying to recycle out to Zacharias, but undercooks it, and Howell, the sub, breaking with the ball, but
just outclassed today, Phil. Fair to say.
Yeah, and it's crazy that this is going to end up as a Streets Remember performance from Javi Garcia in net.
It's giving Zendejas.
It's giving Alejandro Zendejas.
Yes.
No shot. Javi Garcia is going to be the Streets Remember player. Anyways, it's been, I think, I really wish, and Dolomeyer's going to take a yellow here. I really wish we could sit here and say, like, how, unjust it was, and how lucky Lights were to have a lead and all of that. And I mean, it's just not, it just wouldn't be the truth. I think in general, they've been better than us in kind of all phases, aside from goalkeeping, because we haven't tested a Rosarena to the extent that Javi's been tested. So goalkeeping's truly the only area that we've looked better than Vegas in, which is a statement that if you had told me I would speak during this season, before the season, I'd be like, they barely are a club. They don't have any players. How could we possibly be worse than them? And yet, no, they've put together a squad that has made us look, and there's a lot of context here, but overall they've made us look quite average, or worse than that, probably, across 73 minutes so far. And they have a free kick about 30 yards out now. Javi able to punch it away. Went with the safer choice, but very commanding. I mean, I think that's one of the tougher parts of the game to get right in a game setting, is command of your area. We see elite keepers like struggle with it at times, and the fact that he makes a decision, he is decisive, I guess, would be the way to put it. But yeah, man, It's really crazy for the amount I joked about Vegas putting together like a team in 30 days and all of that. I mean, it's true. Like, so any of the like, hey, we're gelling, and hey, there's like players who aren't available and fitness and all this stuff. It's like, hey, I mean, half of these guys who are on the field for Lights right now, like, were either subbed on or didn't really play against Tulsa. So like, it's not like they've had a ton of time to gel. Like, yeah, they're fitter, but that's about the only thing that you can say is they've played less matches than us. And if that's the difference, then like, again, I would point back to like, you know, squad composition and all that sort of stuff to be able to handle a challenge like this. Because if all it takes is a team to be fitter than you for you to lose, then we're going to lose a lot of games this year. I mean, that's just because you're not always, you don't get to dictate the schedule, and you don't get to, you know, like injuries, all that stuff. You don't get a vote in a lot of that.
No, you're right.
So I know it's, I know it's harsh, but man. Jow fires over. I am really interested. I mean, and this is why USL not requiring press duties for away managers is like absolutely insane. And I get that Vegas, you know, journalists or whatever, probably they could care less about talking to Brian Clarehout, but like, it essentially means that there's no follow-up to these sorts of performances, right? Like, there's no, it's sort of, we have to wait till Tuesday, like, to hear anything.
Right, at practice, yeah. And I mean, I think it's going to become an interesting storyline if it becomes one. I hope it doesn't, but if we're also poor on the road, like that was Brian's saving grace last season, is being good on the road. So if we're not even that,
if we're bad at home and bad on the road, it's going to be a long season.
Right.
Some penalty claims there. Real time, I guess I would have said he's looking for it. But I'm also being extremely biased because I'm frustrated with our performance, so I don't think we deserve a penalty, but that's certainly not how.
The question: who would take it? Who would take the penalty?
Man, that's a great question. Eric?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Eric Calvillo. It is a foul. I can't believe they're saying it's not a foul, but it's not a penalty. Like,
yeah,
calm down.
Well, and they could have given it on the edge of the box, and
it
would have been very uncontroversial. They're also saying the Dylan thing is smart, but I think he, again, genuinely fouls him. I don't think that was that controversial either.
Yeah, no. Yeah, can you imagine the goalkeeper taking a penalty? There's nothing in the rules against it, right?
Was that what was that goalkeeper for? I want to say it was Corinthians, or there was a Brazilian keeper who played like well into his 40s, Rogério Ceni, I think, who scored, I think, over 100 goals in his career because he was a penalty taker.
That's insane. Wow.
And he was the keeper. Yeah. One of those weird, like, it could have only started in the 90s, you know, type things where, and then it became one of those cult things for side netting from Moshe Bane. And I may be really offending any Brazilians in the chat, because if Rogério Ceni was a legend for like one of Corinthians' rivals, then yeah, maybe Flamengo.
We have all of human knowledge at our fingertips. Let's look it up.
We do. Dollenmeyer is coming off, Abarca coming on, which means a change of shape. And we'll get a 10-minute glimpse into what life could be like if we played a frickin' 4-4 or a 4-3-3 or a 4-4-2, quote unquote. Like, So, Mika, as you know, I went to this is off topic, but I went to a local hockey game last night.
Yeah.
And the reason I'm reminded is because Zacharias is absolutely giving like fourth line enforcer.
Yeah. I can
He
see
like
that.
he's just out there to body people. Like that's essentially he's just a physical presence.
The energy line. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe a third, whatever the checking line is, that what, third line?
Right. Third line, fourth line. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's just the checking line. Like he's just there to wear people down.
So Rogerio Ceni played for Sao Paulo.
Sao Paulo. So I've really pissed people off then.
Man, my stream is lagging.
Oh yeah, you're lagging a bit as well, video wise.
Let me see.
I did see they do have a corner here, Vegas. Taken short. Cross comes in and Stauffer's trying to keep it in. Gannon pass to Barca. Has to check back. Noel plays a pass to the back post, run on to, but yeah, whiff on the baseball field. And the cross finds no one eventually. But man, did I break your stream making you look up
Maybe.
Brazilian goalkeepers? Mika will be back with us shortly. Technical difficulties, but Locomotive in possession in the meantime, and Akinyode trying to play us out of trouble. Liam Rose, likewise. Calvillo finds Zacharias. Has some space to run into Ricardo and finds a Barca. Then Lions across to Stauffer. Stauffer plays it forward to Moshabane. Eric took a little bit of a loose touch, able to hold on to it, though. Locomotive in a little bit of possession here. Welcome back.
Yeah, Rogerio Ceni broke my stream. For sure. Sorry, y'all.
The sheer amount of goals for Rogerio Ceni. So Sao Paulo. Zacharias got caught on the ball and had to drag down his opposite number and gets a booking for it.
I mean, why is he trying a roulette towards his goal? Like, can we be more fucking serious?
Down 1-0.
Kind of had it with this team at the moment.
Yeah. Although I will say Sean Smart asking for a booking. So
isn't that a booking?
Should be a second yellow. He should be off. Can you imagine getting sent off for asking for a booking for someone? Zacharias is he's really looking for an existential red here.
Just wants to feel something.
Yep. It is really crazy. I don't think it's talked about enough that Vegas had to basically go with like the most basic kit designs because they signed the deal with Hummel so late, and they did like essentially our alternates.
Right.
Like they did like, I mean, the center badge is the only thing that's different about these kits, like, and we have blue, like navy blue accents. But well, 5 minutes to play, 5 minutes for us to find something.
Joe Jaws had a good game.
Last year.
Yeah, I mean,
I think.
I think we've talked about it too, Phil, that like
Yeah.
apathy is probably the worst thing
Yeah.
because anger means you still care.
Yeah.
But
No, it's been, I'd say, I mean, things took a pretty intense turn after that 5-0 at Phoenix last year. In terms of just the lack of positivity, or the lack of caring, maybe. That's
wow, Zachary is getting a handball called against him, and that is insane.
that is crazy. I think he's got. I think the ref has a little thing with Zacharias right now. The lighting on the field has also been on like just a wild journey this whole
Yeah, it's
game.
like really dark now, right?
It
I don't know
started
if
in
it was just my computer or what.
Dylan gives it away on the edge of the area. This will be our first. This will be our first loss in Vegas, right? There's no way we've lost before. Because when they were actually good or like not a meme, we had some good performances, I would say.
Yeah, we've never lost in Vegas. We've lost to Vegas at home.
Right. Yeah, the 5-4
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
the Vietnam flashback game.
That was so ridiculous.
That is a meme that will never die. The Danny Trejo Vietnam flashbacks with John Hutchinson's face. Man, this is rough viewing. Like, this is really hard to watch.
It might be worse than Monterey.
Yeah. Monterey, it was like we got that early goal, and then it felt like, okay, we're gonna concede at some point. It's just a matter of time if we don't sharpen up. But you sort of had that hope, like, oh, okay, we'll get this sort of like reeled in or whatever. And it's just today has just been like I've never I've just never believed that we could equalize, which
Right.
is scary. Like,
The only goal that we've scored this season was from an somewhat individual effort and a mistake by a goalkeeper combining for the
yeah,
goal.
yeah, and catching a team in transition.
Yeah. How much added time do we reckon? I'd say probably like 3 minutes.
Yeah, the standard. It's like. I mean, I'm not trying to. 5 minutes.
Is it 5? Jeez.
I don't know about that. I mean,
Seems like excessive.
I'll take it. I don't really know. I don't really know where it came from, but and I don't think we'll do anything with it, but man, that's actually crazy. Like Bolu just stopped.
Yeah, he just pulled up there.
Like that's crazy. Abarca standing there is like borderline criminal. Like as that ball gets won, like he just stand.
Yeah,
There's
just
3
watches the
players just
play.
standing and watching. Like
Yeah. Zacharias hustles back decently.
yeah. A series of short corners here.
Not Las Vegas Lights having the darkest pitch in USL.
Irony is dead. It's weird. Some of these close-up shots look like well lit, and then as soon as they go to the wide shot, like it just looks like garbage.
Oh, good. Bring on Solomon Asante. I love that. Georgia rule. Madam Web.
I mean, my only thing is like, at least, at least, at least the room was funny. Like not on purpose, but it was funny.
You know what movie was funny and it wasn't supposed to be?
What's that?
Freddy versus Jason.
Just too campy, or
It's just like ridiculous.
yeah. Okay, that was kind of funny. The slip there from I think Liam.
Oh. Yep.
Oh, offside flag. I mean, not that it matters. What are we gonna do? Final minute of the 5 added on.
Need the sweet release of the final whistle.
Yeah.
Has there been anything redeeming about this performance for you, Phil?
Not that I can remember. It's
Javi
actually
Garcia. That's it.
Yeah, Javi Garcia. Yeah.
Yeah.
We've actually it is worse than it is the worst of our league performances so far. Yeah, so F1 tomorrow. The only saving grace is that Sergio Perez got that grid penalty and starts in 6th, and Ferrari looked quick in Australia. So we might be spared another Red Bull one too. But it's that Formula.
I know you're
Formula,
speaking English, but
Formula
I don't know what
it's
the
that
hell
Formula
you just said.
It's that Formula Un. But Red Bull are very good in the car racing world.
Got it.
And they have a Dutch psycho who wins every single race because he's just an absolute machine, like just a robot.
I do know Verstappen, yeah.
And he races for Red Bull, and it's the perfect marriage of the fastest car and a person who never makes a single mistake. Like, so. At least we can look forward to. At least.
Hold on. The last comment in the chat, I'm not even reading it out loud. Just put it up.
That's Verstappen. Yeah. The spectrum really cooked on this one.
They say the same thing about Messi.
That he's autistic?
Yeah.
That probably needs to be a red card.
It doesn't. Hell, what is that?
It doesn't matter to the match, but that was insane. That challenge was absolutely insane.
This guy trying to prove himself in his debut. Calm
down,
sir. That's a red for me, but
yeah.
Wow. Throw the towel.
Oh, man.
Right.
Wow. That was bleak. That was very bleak. Well, Mika, what else can be said that hasn't been said already, I guess?
Hey, I mean, not much. Very poor performance. Some players that were given opportunities did not show up for those opportunities.
Yeah.
Yeah. Congratulations, though, to Javier Garcia. I thought he had a very good game.
Yeah.
In spite of the absolute nonsense in front of him. So.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's absolutely crazy. He did not deserve to lose 1-0. Certainly not to an own goal of his. Because
yeah, and that's the thing too, is people are gonna see the box score and make a lot of assumptions, and they won't have been further from the truth about Javi's performance tonight. So, but them's the breaks.
Yeah. 1-0 loss for Locomotive on the road. The woes of the early season congestion continue. And in general, a lot of work to be done to get things on track. I would say back on track, but just on track for Locomotive, and for them to start showing the team that they are built to be. So, 1-0 loss, extremely disappointing. The one bright spot, Mika, to try to end on a positive, New Mexico ended up losing 4-0.
Nice.
doesn't really brighten that much for me, but it's like at least we're not the only team to lose. Although I would really venture to say that losing 4-0 on the road to Charleston is actually probably a little less troubling than losing on the road in Vegas, but especially given what Tulsa just like did to them. So anyways, yeah, a concerning loss. It is the derby next for Locomotive, and that will be next Saturday, I think, right?
Yep.
Yep, the 6th at 9 p.m. in Albuquerque. So a chance to, well, I mean, it's the first break of any sort basically for this team. And maybe they'll be able to train or something. But given that they actually don't have a game on Wednesday. So yeah, all that being said, thanks to everyone. We had according to the number above my head, we had like 200 people tune in today, which was really cool. So yeah, hopefully everyone enjoyed. And we'll continue to do these for away matches, and hopefully they're not as bleak as this one. With all that being said, follow us on Twitter and subscribe to the pod, and we'll have a episode about this game where you'll get to hear more of us talk about whatever the fuck that was. So thanks everyone, and we will catch you this week, but until then, stay loco.
Stay loco.